All right, so today I am going to be chatting with you a little bit about constructivism, Vygotsky, and how both of those things enter into my pedagogy. So first of all, what is constructivism? Excuse me. What is constructivism? It's a theory based on how we learn. It says that people create their understanding and knowledge through experiences and reflection. Vygotsky believes um, that people learn through social interaction, and that social interaction plays a vital role in our cognitive development. He said that um, that we have, like, as kids, we have these tools, and we use social interaction as one of our tools, and that as we get older, because of this socialization, this social interaction, it leads to us potentially having higher thinking skills. Um, I think that I practice constructivism um, more than I don't, I guess. One way is through problem-based learning. When with my freshmen, we do a unit based on teen issues, and actually, it's sort of evolving as I speak. But um, the teen issues research paper, students choose one of 5 issues, and they then do research about said issue, and decide on what first they decide on what research question they'd like to answer. Many of these papers turn into like a cause effect solution paper, um, but it is like what causes teen depression, what causes eating disorders in teens, and sleep deprivation, and those type of issues. It has been slowly evolving, and actually this term, we are looking more at how technology affects students. So we're at the beginning, muddling through, and um, so because it's so early in it, we haven't um, we're still figuring out what our research questions are, and what we want to find out about technology. But what a lot of them seem to be trying to figure out is, or want to know more about, is how technology affects students both in the classroom and outside. Um, in my classroom, I also really try to promote active learning. I want my students engaged and involved in my lessons. I don't want to be a talking head. That's boring for them. It's boring for me. And it's very difficult to create buy-in when it's boring. Um, for example, with my juniors right now, we are reading The Crucible, which is one of my favorites. And so the students are acting out The Crucible. They volunteer for parts. Some of them are voluntold who they are going to be. But for the most part, we just started. We finished Act 1 on Friday, and we started Act 2 today. And when we started Act 1, I told them about the characters, and I did get a lot of volunteers, but I also got a lot of telling students, okay, well, you got this part. But for Act 2, I barely got to ask who wanted to volunteer for a part. And I had several students who were bummed out because they didn't get to be a part. They didn't get to read for a part in Act 2. So it was a very quick buy-in, and which is excellent. It does take us through Act 1 to get them to buy in sometimes, but by Act 2 they're in and they want to read it. And whenever I whenever I start another we started talking about another article or something that we are reading alongside of the Crucible. They're like, "Are we reading today? Is that happening today?" So that's really exciting. But I really try to promote to come up with activities that my students are engaged in, and I want them to be sort of the in the driver's seat, and like, this is where we're going, this is what we're talking about, and of course I'm the guide and I'm guiding us along, but I don't, again, want to be that talking head. So I am, of course, not perfect, and I have a lot of room to grow. I'm a relatively new teacher, and I have a lot of places that I'm working on, and one of them is, um, I guess, making my class more constructivist. Um, it's difficult when um, it's difficult walking into a school, and like, we have at every grade level team, at least that I've been a part of, um, there are set things that these are the things that we have to get through. Everybody does these things. And so being able to sort of put my flair on them, and while we do have a very, like, these are the essays that we write, these are the anchor texts that we read, um, I'm lucky in that I get to put my spin on things. And so I've been working to, especially with my juniors, I've been working to come up with a more activities that they are dealing with, the same issues that are talked about in the text, but in real life situations. And so right now we're in our individuality and conformity unit, which is why we read the Crucible, and we talk about um, all of these people were conformed because they were scared. We also read other texts where conformity is the best option, and so we talk about, are there times that we should conform? Are there times that we should stand out as an individual? And so I try to, when I'm introducing this, talk about times that we conform, and let them know, like, you actually conform all the time, whether you realize it or not. You come to school and you wear your ID. You're conforming to the rules. You come to school and you're in dress code. That's conforming to the rules. You show up and you're here on time. You're conforming to the rules. And it's really interesting, like, when the kids are like, huh, I guess I never thought of it that way. Another way is, again, to give my students more of an opportunity to be active in their learning. There are certain points in the curriculum where it's more difficult. The second quarter, the second half of junior English we're very active, and they definitely are in the driver's seat. Whereas the first half, it's a little bit more teacher driven, and I'm still working on trying to figure out how to get them all the things that they need, but allow them to be in the driver's seat a little bit more. Thank you so much for listening.